glad y'all tuned.
Wrong.
Introducing Dr. Clyde Winter. And on their name, put some respect. Yeah. I think it's time for reality check. Yeah, reality check. Gotta get you back on cold. Reality check. For the young and the old. Reality check. Yeah, the heal your soul. Reality check. Get ready for the show.
So, how's everybody doing today? How's everybody doing? You know, we're back again. We're back again. We're here. We're alive, and we're here to communicate with the people because see, I'm hungry. I want some food. Oh, no.
What up, Dr. Winters? You said you hungry.
No, I'm not really hungry. See, when you get old, you don't know if you're hungry or not. You just eat because you're supposed to eat. Back in the day, I could taste food. Food doesn't taste good anymore. I used to like Polish sausages. They don't taste like they used to taste. So I don't know. I keep going out and I keep looking. I keep looking to find the food that I want to eat, and a lot of times it's just not there. It's just not there, and this kind of disturbs me a lot. Makes me a little sad because I wanna eat.
I get that. Is it like you have a nostalgic taste? You taste for something, and because that person's not here to cook it, nobody's going to be able to cook it like that.
Not so much that. I got over that when my grandma died. What I'm talking about is that a lot of the different foods you used to buy, like certain like smoked sausage, and all that type of stuff, it used to have a different taste.
Oh yeah. They're using different shit now too.
Yeah,
I saw all these. They had like a comparison between like things in Europe and then things here, and just the quantity of ingredients for strawberry oatmeal, right? You would think it would be strawberries, oats, maybe some kind of sugar or sweetener, or maybe a cream or something like that. And that's it. And that is it for Europe. But here in America, it was like 14 different ingredients, and then all of these extra vitamins that they're saying that you need to have in the strawberry oatmeal. And it's like, what are they feeding us?
I don't know, but the Europeans, they won't buy a lot of our stuff. I used to like to eat Frosted Flakes and Cheerios. Then I found out they were putting hormones in there to make me into a woman and stuff. Make me lose my gender. Damn, I'm too old to have pronouns.
No, we have pronouns. Look, everybody has pronouns. They just don't like to identify with those pronouns. And I think that that's okay. We need to be very comfortable being honest about what's really going on. Because when you start saying, my pronouns matter, I never said that they didn't. What I'm saying is you can't steal mine. And if you're not identifying with yours, then we can make a new one for you. Like, let's just, do something else. But you can't just steal. Because if you steal, then I'm going to have something to say about it. And then if you're mad at me saying something about it, well, now we have conflict. And that's unnecessary conflict, because a lot of times we're all, peons in the system of the common sense factor of existing, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's very complicated, because I hear some people say that they're in love and they love to fight so they can make up. I didn't ever like fighting, because if I'm mad at you and you're mad at me, I know one thing: I'm not getting any nookie tonight. Number two, I might have to sleep on the couch. And the thing is this: so I didn't want to go that route. And these people talk about, I love to argue to make up, even sit here in the silence. No. I want to eat food. I want to eat food that keep people can present to me. But see, we always think of food as only in a sense, maybe oatmeal, mashed potatoes, things like that. But you can have food for thought. You know,
Absolutely.
you can have, ideas. These ideas can be food because you're taking them in and they're nourishing you. A lot of times they're nourishing you. You were talking about earlier about the reparations meeting. What really happened today? You
All
know.
right. So, every few months or so, Virginia has been getting together. Virginia has a commission to study slavery. So it's not quite a reparations task force as much as
Mhm.
the governor has commissioned people to study the impacts of slavery on Black Virginians and then make recommendations to the General Assembly on what needs to be done to correct and rectify such what we just talked about. And every couple months, at least for the first year, we didn't even know what was going on because it was COVID and they were having these virtual meetings and kind of real hush hush. But then we started going, well, once I guess COVID restrictions got lifted and people got to go places again, we started attending the meetings and we were very constant about, what reparations are, who they're for, and how you can make a recommendation. But they were very, no programs, no time, no, you need time, you need programs, just wait, just don't worry, we got this. Well, now it's at the end, and June is going to be the end of this commission, and apparently there's going to be another commission. And I'm like, how is this doing anything more than band-aiding? I don't want us to fill ourselves with a corn, rice, or fillers, fluff. I want us to be filling ourselves with nourishing things that make sense, things that last, things that you can do something with. And you know, when we're going to these meetings and we're telling them at least our opinion on repairing justice for Black Virginians, they're taking notes. And then the next meeting, they're coming back and they're kind of reiterating their point, almost hoping that we don't show up reiterating our point. And it's this back and forth thing. And I'm like, if only there were a fix. And I think the fix is people don't fill themselves with the same things. And because they don't fill themselves with the same things, they don't have the same fight. And when you don't have the same fight, well, we're having different conversations. It's conflicts, unnecessary conflicts, because if we're not even talking about the same thing, we shouldn't be fighting because your conversation's happening over here, mine's happening over here. It's not even crossing paths, but we think we're talking about the same thing and it's not matching. So, we're fighting and lateral movements happen. And then Black people get left in the dust with regards to resources because some stupid shit. And the world keeps on turning, right? But that's stupid to me. And
It's not stupid of you. That's the whole idea of compromise within a white supremacist society. You have to understand in a sense that American politics, especially in relationship to foundational Black Americans, has always been the idea of the rubber band. And the idea of the rubber band is that when the rubber band, you pull it and it stretches, you see. And so then that's what they do. So they discuss ideas. They discuss, in a sense, new things that can maybe make Americans better. But see, they'll let you pull it for a while, then it'll contract again. And then so you're always going over and over with it. And so see, that's why in a sense you had to think like Europeans think. And see, Europeans, what they do is that no matter if the rubber band contracts, they still remain on topic. They still remain on the scene. And see what they're hoping is that you'll be like the average Negro. And the average Negro, in a sense, he'll get frustrated and he'll get mad and he'll want to go in a different direction, or he'll think that he should, in a sense, push different buttons. No, you push these buttons.
same buttons.
Yes, it's like
That's so, you are so on it because we know it bothers them. You can see it in their faces. If you guys go to like Library of Virginia on their YouTube, they have the meetings recorded. And when we have our public comment, that's public record. And some of the things we say, they know we're going to say it. We've told them why we were here, and we haven't changed the message. So it's almost like, are they going to show up today? And then if we show up today, well, all right, make it quick. We don't have all day. People got to get going. And it's like, yeah, I understand all that, but we're going to make sure that we've said what we need to say, because this is the time for that. And like y'all said, this is over in June, and who knows who's going to pick up where you guys left off. And we need to be, like you said, no matter where you snap back at, until you've done what we've asked you to do, it hasn't happened yet. So you can't move. That's like Neely Fuller to me. He said, if you haven't gotten your answer to the first question, you can't move on to the second question.
Right. But see, that's why it's consistency.
It's what?
Consistency. You have to be consistent. You have to push forward. And it's like Derek Bell, he asks these old black women, say, why do you keep doing this ish? Why do you keep doing this? She say, we love to just get on the white man nerves, and we're going to fight. See, we just grow up fighting, We don't know when to stop, and it's the beauty of being FBA. But at the same time, what we've learned is that we've been learning over the past couple of years that what makes white people successful, what makes white people successful in an argument is that they don't change their position. And so then, therefore, if you want to get reparations, how you doing? All the way free in chemistry, black magic. If you want to get reparations, you have to remain on topic. Because see, remember, in a sense, is that when you're talking about reparations, when you're talking about, in a sense, your origins, you're making food. See, we never really think about the idea that all of this is food for thought. All of this, in a sense, can build up energy for action. And so then, therefore, in a sense, when you have these reparations and you're having these conferences on reparations, and you're talking about, giving FBA people, their just due and paying us for the labor of our ancestors, that is so true. But the point is this, is that my wife used to always talk about the fact is that it's always two sides to everything. And because there's two sides to everything, that complicates how you're able to maneuver, how you're able, in a sense, to create food for thought and food to present energy. See, back in 1988, 1991, around there, one of those days, probably 1988, Jesse Jackson said, "Hey, if you don't do this or do that, we're going to protest." And then what happened is that black people didn't protest. So the white men said, wait a minute. Why didn't they obey?
Black people didn't protest?
No, they didn't protest.
Going to, and then we didn't.
Jesse Jackson said we were going to, but Jesse Jackson didn't in a sense create a movement so that he could get people to act. And so what happened is that white people said, oh, they're just playing. So since they're just playing, we'll just play around with them.
Right. So, what year was this, Dr. Winters?
About 88, 89.
All right. So when I was born, Jesse Jackson fucked us over by talking a lot of shit and not having any backup. But so Dr. King was murdered in
68.
So then 20 years later, that's a long time.
But they had already started working. See, as Black Power became entrenched in the Black community, by the 1980s, what they did is that they wanted to do the Shanghai proposal, and the Shanghai proposal was that you bring cocaine. They brought in a sense opium into China so they could take over China. So what they did with us, they brought in a sense crack. I didn't know until very recently that it was the scientists that created crack, because the people who really pushed a lot of crack in the Black community were Jamaicans from the Caribbean, and what made crack such an ideal food for many people, in a sense who were broken, many people in a sense who had lost any hope, is that you had the crack and then they had a little container so you could smoke it. Right. These brothers was very original, because they were able, in a sense, to create, in a sense, a product, a food, in a sense, in a way that could debilitate you and push you into a very bad position. I remember when I was teaching, and some of the kids came in and they were drugged. Their parents had been druggies and stuff, and some of the behaviors that they brought in. And see, when we usually think about food, we always think about, in a sense, things like tacos, macaroni and cheese.
Right.
We never think about the fact that ideas of food.
Oh, I think about things that we ingest as food all the time. But I know that is, I think, a secondary thought. Like when we're talking about words and primary definitions, secondary definitions, are we having the same conversation or not? In real time, what fills us, people will say, if you read a book before you go to bed, that'll help you go to bed. Or if you listen to something very thought provoking, the heavy thoughts will help you go to sleep.
Really?
This is what I've heard. And then I've heard, you can fall asleep in front of the TV. And,
really?
This is what I've heard. The constant whatever, that's like a white noise for them of sorts. People who listen to music before they go to bed, same thing. They're being filled with something that's allowing them to do whatever it is that they need to do. And at nighttime, it's go to sleep. I started reading the dictionary, Dr. Winters.
Go ahead.
Every day, I've been trying to read the dictionary before bed, and it really does help me go to sleep. Like I can do like 2.5 pages because I really am reading every word. I'm reading every single thing on the page, and I'm not trying to memorize it, and I'm not even trying to comprehend it as much as I'm just trying to get through it. And then after I get through it, then we can go back and figure out.
But that's dangerous. It's very dangerous. It's dangerous because the fact, in a sense, is that we create definitions of words all the time. Like we get jealousy and envy, and we get jealousy and envy mixed up all the time in terms of our common definitions of these words. But then, in a sense, when you really look up at the definition of these words, you see changes. I mean, haven't you noticed that in some of the definitions that you've read, just as a coincidence, is that when you read it, you say, "Damn, I thought the word was different." It's almost like music. How you heard a song when you were a teenager or a preteen, and then you start singing the song, and then you've added words to the song that have nothing to do.
It's not there, right?
It's not there. But in a way, this is how the song was. And then when you get the real song, it's different.
Absolutely. I like to call it our brain is filling in what we didn't understand. It's like mama say, mama sa, mama kusa, right? Nobody knew what the fuck. But then, it's I'm going to say it one time from the mountaintop, or I'm going to say it one more time and I'm not going to stop. And it's like, really, for however many years, nobody knew. And now everybody supposedly knows. And it's like you can hear it and you cannot hear it because of how committed to memory you made that. That was, you filled in that blank and everybody accepted it. So knowing the words doesn't even really matter at this point, because what you've internalized and what you've already, that foundation's already done, like it's done. You would have to unlearn it. And then is it as important to unlearn that as it could be to do something else? So, I understand the levels with that, but
could you elaborate could you elaborate on that thought? That's interesting. About unlearning, learning, unlearning. That's
unlearning and relearning is it's the story where they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but you can teach an old dog new tricks. You just have to make the prize worth it. An old dog is not going to do something that a younger dog would do because they've been around for a little bit longer. They know some things, but if you make it enticing, then you can coerce. It's a dog at this point. But then people like to use animal examples for human behavior. And while it's not fair, but if we're going to do it, fine. You can't teach old people new things, or a person who has a habit can't break their habit. And that's untrue. If you want to break the habit, if you want to learn something new, you will force yourself to do whatever needs to be done, whether it's a 21-day thing, whether it's a I need to wake up every morning because this is the only time I can do this. So let me do this. You start putting your schedule and prioritizing your time. But it's a saying that's untrue as much as it is true, because people are lazy. An old dog is not going to learn a new trick, and it doesn't really give a shit, because again, you haven't made the prize enticing enough for
That's
it.
right.
But if you make that prize enticing, then hey, no, I'm I'm very interested in what you've got going on over there. And people are the same way. If it's worth it for them, then they will. I've seen people who used to be heavy smokers don't smoke anymore. I've seen people who used to, be very overweight or unhealthy not be like that anymore. I've seen people who have needed to do more with their business. They're doing what they're doing and everything's cool, but they say they want more. And then, okay, well, I got to get some more work done. I have to do more work, but then they do more work, and then now they're in a different environment. So it's all about how much work someone's willing to put in. And that goes, I guess it's like chefing, chefing on ourselves, how we're feeding ourselves. But the unlearn and relearn, that's to me, it's as simple as when we switch from being omnivores to we have a very specific livid how we eat over here. So, but
Well,
sometimes people say, well, when you switch your diet, you can't have like fun stuff anymore, and that's not true. You just got to do some extra work. So
Well, you got those Epic now, and those other drugs they say can help you. But I know when my kids were growing up, because of the fact I thought we were going to fight a revolution, I used to try to feed my kids a lot, my boys a lot of meat. Used to feed them a lot of meat because I wanted them to be, in a sense, flesh eaters, so they would be ready to kill and be ready to kill those folk. But then when my daughter came, then when I had my daughter and I found out how a lot of girls were having their periods early, and I didn't want my daughter to maybe get pregnant early. I wanted her to keep reading comic books till she was 17. So so what I did in a sense is that so then we stopped eating a lot of meat and a lot of chicken because they put those hormones into the chicken
right,
and into the beef. And girls is having their periods at 8 years old. I mean,
right,
at 8 years old, and you want to have sex. Remember, once you get a period is to make you want to
baby
have
boom,
sex.
right.
And so then I'm trying to keep my daughter reading comic books and stuff. Baby, read those comics. Play with your dolls. But but anyway, this is just a bull. But anyway, you want food for thought. And this weekend, Yoshima just made some videos that are driving me wild. I even did a presentation last night because his videos are making me really think about our heritage as aboriginals and how we transformed into to contemporary FBA. We're the supermen, we're the superwomen of the world. Yes, we're the supermen and we're the superwomen because we went through that ethnogenesis. Aboriginals, uh, Black Irish, foundational Black American, I mean, Sub-Saharan Africans. We brought those two populations together and then like mixed them in a cauldron with a sister, stirring it up. What happened in a sense, we created the Superman. Yes, we're Superman today. You're a superwoman. And the
Hey,
point is that nobody can compete with us. And even though nobody can compete with us, they hate us. They hate us. And they hate us because they ain't us. See, they hate us because they ain't us. And I have to play Yoshimod's video. So please excuse me, young people, but I just love it. So I'm gonna have to play it.
play it. Yoshi, where you at?
So just easy to say. You see this coming from breathing the day. No ain't no food in this woman no way. I don't know ocean away from the bay. I've been drifting a lot far away. I wanna be in to keep them away. She was just here, but I just couldn't stay. Force me to lean and they want me to drain. Drink to the ground, don't suit me. I'm unfortunate, and my sorrows. So many follow, living in hollow. Bring on the idol, listen to Carlo. Living in borrow, living in borrow. Living in Carlo, shooting a hollow. Shooting a inferno, of the Carlo. Some men know you. Just in the eye, I know, see that. Some of the others are criminals. All of them is a bit something until they reach. The color queen, that's what the mission is. You ain't getting big, you can feel it. Trying to seal it. All of them feeling it. Killing what killing is.
Wow, beautiful. I don't know why. I don't think you guys could hear that, so that was kind of disappointing.
I heard half of it, if that helped. But
What?
Yoshi's music is always a bop, and I find that the powers that be on this platform don't like his energy, and that means that you just got to play it again. And it's okay because at the end you play my most favorite bop of Yoshi's. Um, you know, if you can't say it for yourself, that's my favorite one, and that's the one that people need to do the most support with, because when you don't have a lot of followers, I think that having a lot of the obstacles that we're going through, it really means something. It's not just little peons saying, the system. No, in real time, you guys can help thwart the powers that be by liking, sharing, subscribing, and tuning in. So,
And you should go to Yoshimod, and when you go to Yoshimod, you can maybe support him because he makes a lot of good stuff, and he makes material that can really to me make you think. And
actually,
I love that video because to me it talks about our history as Aboriginals, and then as the Black Irish came, and then Sub-Saharan Africans came, and then before you know it, we became Supermen. Yes, yes, family, because of the fact, in a sense, we're the Supermen and women of the world today. We feed the world. We feed the world. Their food is our slang, our language. Their food is our music. Their food is our dress. We're feeding them. We're feeding the whole world because we're the new Superman. We're the new Egyptians because we went through an ethnogenesis, and that ethnogenesis brought within us, in a sense, all of this cultural, all of these cultures, all of this history, and that we've been able, in a sense, to create food for thought, food for action, food for energy. And we're feeding the world, and the world is living off us. Yes, 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 yes. The world is living off us. You know. Check this out. Copy this down, because the thing is, this is that subscribe to Yoshimod, go to his Patreon, subscribe. Also subscribe to Jess Eve, her platform too. But the most important, in fact, Eve gets more views on her platform than mine. So damn, go. And I don't know. I think it's because of the fact that she's cuter than me.
it's we're very you guys are quite the gentlemen scholars over here, and nothing but intellectual thoughts and good vibes. I love it. Yoshi has a new channel though, so he does have Yoshimod, but the one I put in the chat is the new channel. So go subscribe to that channel too, and then we'll all be on accord. And I think that when all the little people start saying that things matter, well, that's when things start to matter, because the big people, well, it's not a lot of them. It's a lot more little people than it is big people. So have you seen that picture of like the world? It's like a map, and it's a bunch of black men, and they're all like this, and all they have to do is stand up, and the map Monopoly board, it could it topples
I
over
haven't
or
seen
whatever.
that sounds like a cool meme.
It really is. I mean, I saw it a long time ago. I will try to find it, but it's so symbolic. I hate symbols, you guys, but I love symbols. I hate symbols, but I love symbols. Because of what you said earlier, people have their own definition of things, and then they're using words all out of context. They're using secondary, tertiary, their own made up slang, familial definition of a word, and then it's like Uno. Everybody has played Uno before, but house rules, your house rules, my house rules, I can stack 10 cards on top of what I mean. That's not how we play, but people play differently, and it's all the same game. So at the end of the day, the rules are you get one card, you got to say Uno, and then, the first person to have no cards is out. But then how you get there, that matters. And it doesn't matter. So, as long as we're all having the same conversation, zero conflicts or zero unnecessary conflicts. We start having different conversations, well, conflicts abound. And then, it's like, are we filling ourselves with junk, or are we filling ourselves with nourishment?
What is
Because
junk? What is junk? Because I know now that when my wife was alive, my baby doll, I used to eat healthy. I used to eat healthy. Since my wife died and I have to cook, then I'm gonna go maybe buy a chicken biscuit for breakfast, and a large Pepsi. or I might go home and cook some grits and tomatoes. I mean grits and eggs and maybe some turkey bacon, or I might eat some pancakes. But most of the time, I'm gonna do the cheapest thing because I don't really care. I felt my wife she ate healthy, walked every day, still kept her shape. And I lost my shape a long time ago. But anyway, still kept her shape. Looking good. And then I know it's right. I know it's right to eat the right food. See, family. I know it's right to eat the right food. How you doing, Carla, Nadi? And how you guys doing out there? But the point is this: is that even though I know it's right and it's important that you eat healthy foods because for your body, at the same time, in a sense, I care, but I don't care. And is that wrong? I care,
No,
but I
it's
don't
not
care.
wrong. Because I was wondering where you were going to go with that. And I love to play devil's advocate here because people think that because I eat healthier, because they think I eat healthier, because their perception of me, you guys
We can look
think
at we
you
can
know
look at your
me.
complexion, Eve. We can look at your complexion. You don't have any bumps. Come on
No,
now.
but
You're
look,
eating good.
I got
Oh,
one right
okay. So you had to find one.
there. No, look, this is perfect because in real time we started our reality checks like this. Y'all think you know things from what you see, and then you don't know shit. And then if you're not comfortable saying that, then you're going to be very confused. These reality checks are going to smack you in the head, and then we're going to have to do it all over again. So in real time, what I would say is that I've seen the YouTube of the woman who drank whiskey and smoked cigarettes every day, and she was like 100 and something. And then I've seen the same type of woman, vegan. She's very fit, and she's also 100 and something. And two things can't be true, but they can be true. So
Ah,
what I've learned is that people are not things that you can put in boxes. And in real time, you guys, there are people who want you to believe that you can put somebody in a box and put a lid on it, and that's how that person is for life. That's it. That's that old dog new tricks thing. But you can teach an old dog new tricks, and if you are well, you can revitalize things too. Just because it's older doesn't mean it's done. And that's another, I think, a familial definition that people got comfortable with. Old being something that's done versus just a lot of time has passed. And then I think that, how your family has lived and how you guys have been able to manage or whatever, that matters because if when you're old you're tired, well, maybe you're done, or if you're old and you've got things to do, well, maybe you wouldn't be so slow. I think there's nuances that everybody has in their family for why we use certain words certain ways, but in the grand scheme of things, we all have come together and said, old people, y'all even get a home, fine. Here, go be over here because y'all are done, right? But you got a lot of experience, you got a lot of know-how, you got a lot of, just a lot of tradition and a lot of conversation, and a lot of people who are not done. They're just done with that, whatever it was, ready for something else. But the prize wasn't enticing enough. That old dog new tricks. Is it enough to get out of bed every morning at 8 o'clock if I don't have to? Or can I, relax in the fact that I don't have anything to do right now? But Dr. Winters, what I don't want to happen is you can't be one of those old people who don't do anything and then you die, because I've seen that too. Old people who retire and then they don't have anything to do die faster than an old person who still has like a part-time job or a hobby or, some sort of purpose. So
purpose. That's a very interesting word. Purposeful. It's all very interesting because see, I for me, I feel in the sense that I want to do what I want to do. I want to do what I want to do. I want to have control because but I don't want to feel like that I have to do, because I feel if I have to do, then when it's my time to die, I won't go into the light. Then I'll be around hunting and trying to let people know I'm here as a ghost. I don't want to be a ghost. I pray to God. All praise to God. Peace of Allah. I really hope God will send my wife or my brother, somebody come and pull me into the light. I don't want to be stuck here. My wife already said that we're in Italy right now. She's my mistress, and we're having a good time. That client can stay. He's young and he's having fun. This client, I just want to take every day, each day at a time, because see, it is so much in life to feed us. We always think in a sense that it has to be, you have to gain energy from the food you eat, maybe the vegetables and other things, but there's other types of food. Just existence, just existence in a sense is also a food, because it's your existence that allows you to interpret and to know what you believe is really right, what you believe is wrong, and what you feel is worth fighting for. And see, this is the hard thing. This is the hard thing. See, you're married. Don't get mad at me, family, for what I'm about to say. But okay. But when you're married or you have a partner, when you have a partner, that's so wonderful about having a partner is your midnight conversations. It's not having sex, because you always know that sex is temporary, you know. And a lot of times, many men don't even know how to satisfy their wives, so they're women. So a lot of times they definitely can't. For those of us who do know how to satisfy our wives, well, we want to have it all. But for those who can't, well, the thing is just keep your fingers crossed and hope for the best. But the most important thing in a relationship, and the thing that makes it so wonderful, is to be able to have conversation, discourse, conversation. That is, in a sense, the food that creates the body politic. What is the body politic? The body politic is people in communication. The body politic is people being able to accept and recognize who they are. Did you want to go through your slides?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Bust them out.
Just tell me when to move them.
Okay. I'm no artist. Well, I mean, whatever. This is what I wanted to talk about tonight. Are you eating to live, or are you eating to die? And I got this kind of from Layla Africa, the live it part, and then the diet part. But then I really started thinking about it. So maybe 10 years ago, when I heard about a live it and a diet, it just blew my mind, because, well, they tell you if you want to eat healthy, you have to diet, right? Well, when you diet, that's when you start restricting things, you start cutting things back, you are essentially, well, making things fit in a box. And I found that our bodies were made perfectly, and our cells rejuvenate. And if our cells rejuvenate, well, we shouldn't be doing things to restrict. We should be doing things to create growth. But then what types of growth? So are you eating to live or eating to die? And, it starts with our food. You can go to the next slide. I feel like in school we learn like about food pyramids and such. So that's why I have a food pyramid on the screen. And how you feel yourself. Are you eating to live and eating to die? Well, a lot of people eat the fluff stuff, like bread, and potatoes, and starch, and all of. I think that's the stuff that makes you feel good inside, because you're nice and full and you're warm and you're like, yeah, okay, I can sleep. I don't have any worries off of this. But in real time, I like what you said earlier about how you were feeding your son meat because you wanted them to be ready for war. You wanted them to have that carnivore
Beast.
energy,
That's right.
Caveman. I think that's exactly the type of energy that you would be bestowing on your children when you partake in certain food. If you eat something that's just sitting there, well, maybe you're fostering environment of sitting there. So,
But Eve,
the pyramid is
But Eve,
skewed.
before you move on, why is it that you see people in France, they eat lots of bread, but they don't have the weight that we have. They don't have the stress that we have. So is it really eating the bread, or is it what we're putting in the bread? I don't know. What do you think? Why do we have that dichotomy? Eat bread
Oh,
in France. You eat to live. Eat bread over here. You eat to die. What about that dichotomy, especially in terms of bread?
no, that's excellent because with bread, bread is, well, a lot of people eat wheat, and what they don't know is that wheat isn't just like one seed. It's not like you have a tomato seed and then you put in the ground and now you've got tomatoes. Because you guys know that there's different types of tomatoes. You got cherry tomatoes, plum tomatoes, hothouse tomatoes, a lot of different varieties. Same thing with wheat, the thing that you make bread from. And what's happened is here in America, they don't give a shit about us. So the things that they're putting in the food, like what Dr. Winters was talking about earlier, shit just doesn't taste the same. It doesn't taste the same because it's not made the same. It's made to look the same, but it's not the same. So in Europe, they have, I guess, a higher standard of what they put in their processed foods, like bread, and oatmeal and cereal and such, versus over here where we're more an assembly line product. America doesn't really give a shit about its citizens as much as it gives a shit about the bottom line. And the bottom line is you niggas don't get anything that makes sense. And if the poor white people don't do anything, then, the rich people can take their children to Europe and eat the bread that the French people eat and not get fat. So, and die off. Did that help, Dr. Winters? Or did I?
That helped a lot, because the thing is this is that you do want to be popular, and at the same time you do want to be in tune. I was looking at an article the other day. Well, I was looking at the TV news, and they were talking about food and Ozempic. Now that they've been able to find a medicine that fights something else, and now they're using this medicine to lose food. They were talking about, should people really worry about their diet? Should people really worry about what they eat? But then at the same time, you brought up a very important fact, is that I want to get those tastes that I tasted years ago. But now with all this stuff that they put into our foods, it's losing the taste. When I think about the rolls that my grandma could make, and how she could produce these, or even my sister, because my grandma, she gave my sister all the recipes. But again, in a sense, is that so it was so different. But this is very important in terms of this food. Did you want me to go to the next slide?
Um, well, I don't want people, well, because like I said earlier, I don't really care how people eat because at the end of the day, most of us are the 90%, right? And then I'm talking about like just most Americans are not in the upper elite, so y'all don't have any control over what we're eating either. But what we do have control over is what we buy. And then from there, it turns into work. That's why the pyramids are all askew, because people think that, well, they don't think this, they know this, you scrap one habit for another, or you scrap one master for another, or, you never get off the hamster wheel. And right now, there's a lot of fires to be put out. So
Yeah.
people start prioritizing what needs to be done. And if you are needing to pay bills, because that's how life is over here, and you're working all the time, well, you don't have time to cook meals. So now you've got a system where you can just go buy it cheaply. You've filled your body for the night, and you can get to the next day. But did you fill it or did you fuel it? And that's that I think that those two words, they sound the same. They got similar letters, but they don't mean the same. And when people start looking at themselves as, well, as little vessels, then I think that we'll start to fuel ourselves versus fill ourselves, and maybe we can have a fighting chance in putting out these fires that people say are important to them. So
But but they talk a lot about empty calories. In other words, there's certain foods that you're eating, and that they're filling you up now. They're filling you up, but they're not real. They're not really giving you the nutrition. They're not really giving you the, the things that we need to make. I mean, just like today, mostly all of us, including myself, I'm not going to lie, we're always taking a lot of vitamin supplements, and because we're not getting these vitamins from the food. And okay, they'll say they put this or that vitamin in the food, but then at the same time, we still have to seem as though many of us, not all of you out there, family, but many of us are relying on store bought vitamins and other supplements to really hopefully improve our diet, since we don't believe we're really getting it from the food. It's so complicated to eat.
It's sad because I understand the struggle. Like I said earlier, people think that I eat healthy, and I think I eat healthy enough, but I know I could do better. I know I could do a billion times better. I drink alcoholic beverages. So people say, "Oh my gosh, you eat healthy and drink alcohol." Yes, because why the fuck not? I'm old enough to, and it's legal, so why not? And in moderation, why not? Because again, we're all dealing with whatever we're dealing with inside of the system that doesn't make sense. And inside of that, are we filling or fueling? So I think that people prioritize needs. And then from there, we shouldn't be so judgy on how they've prioritized, as much as if you can understand the why, then maybe you stop being so controlly, and we can kind of get back to the bigger picture. Like if you're lethargic, if you're all right, here's my biggest thing about the food. If you can't run a mile, then you shouldn't be so loud about what people should do, because in real time, if we have to run, we can't follow you because you can't run a mile. So like, to me, with food and people talking, that's really my only big thing. If you're going to be talking to people about food, then make sure that the maths. But if you're just talking to people about what we've been talking about tonight, thoughts and different ways of filling ourselves or fueling ourselves, then I think it can be an open conversation. And you don't have to be a vegan, and you don't have to be a meat eater, and you don't look the vitamins. There's a debate. If you take vitamins because you don't eat your vitamins, are you getting the nourishments? And then people will say no, because your body's only going to process so much of the vitamin, and it's been processed already, and it's kind of this extra manufactured thing. And I don't know, because again, I saw the old lady who smoked cigarettes and drank whiskey, and she was 100 and something. And I also saw the old lady who was a vegan and super fit, and she was also like, our bodies are going to process things differently, but people need to start. They don't start. They wait for someone to give them the playbook. And me, I'm just saying, hey, bang, the gun. We shot the gun. The race started, and y'all are still at the starting line. And you don't have to be. But if you stay there, then I mean, damn, you really don't have to stay there, especially if you're joining us on Wednesdays, because I'm going to continue to smack some reality into the ether, and hopefully Dr. Winters will check me on it if I'm wrong about stuff.
I don't check ladies. I stutter.
But like they said in the chat, the foods that are devoid of color might not have so much nutrients in it. So maybe, eat things that are looking nice, pleasing to the eye, colorful things that might have the nourishments that you're looking for. But if your favorite drink is Kool-Aid red, or purple popsicles or whatever, well, you got some work to do, and that's okay, because at least you decided to get started. So that's my feel on food.
It's very interesting. I remember when I used to sometimes over the summer when I was going to university, I would work with my father and do construction work. And so then what the guys would do is that we would buy coffee and get a croissant, and put a lot of butter in it, and then put it on the heater, and then eat the croissant and the coffee. And then now today, when I was teaching, a lot of times, in a sense, somebody, if somebody would say, hey, I want to treat the staff, and you get some coffee and some donuts. I mean, what is that? Is that stuff good or is it bad? I don't know. I know Starbucks. You go to Starbucks, you're gonna have to pay $7 for a macchiato, whereas I like to go to the local gas station and pay maybe less than $2. But again, we have this thing where you said you don't want to learn about what to eat, but a lot of times we want to eat and we want to do the things that make people like us. For example, when my sons come over and they're watching a bear, we love the Bears, and I love the Bears since I was a kid. And so when they come over, they bring a lot of beers, and we get some chicken and dip. But then they'll say, "Hey, Pops, you want a drink?" And they know I don't drink, so I say, "Hell no." But again, it says, but then when some of you ladies get together, you might want to have a little glass of wine, and you guys will sit around and chat, drinking wine. So again, in a sense, no, we don't like the fact that sometimes, in a sense, our peers or our peers, our friends, our colleagues at work, they can influence us in terms of the foods that we eat. But at the same time, in a sense, is it right? Is it wrong? Or is it what we have to do? I don't know.
I think that people have to get comfortable learning themselves, because that's where we are. In 2024, we are a society of little babies, because, whether you grew up in a family that said that, vaccines were super important, or a family who said that vaccines were not super important, everybody has technology now. So you've all turned into little hypochondriacs, and you've WebMD'd yourself into different diseases and treatments and disorders and whatever. However, inside of that, if you don't care about you, then put your hands and your feet and your trust into somebody else, and let them show you how they feel about you. But I think that most of us do care. We just don't know, because we were told that, well, if you don't know, you go to somebody who knows more. Doctors know more. They went to school for a long time to learn all this stuff. But in real time, there's a lot of doctors who've harmed our community. So people who have experienced said harm, they're a little weary. They don't want to participate. And then it's like, well, not all doctors are bad. Not all cops are bad. Not all teachers are bad. Not all. Dr. Winters, I'm so tired of hearing not all. People need to take some autonomy and some ownership about themselves and what they want. Have an honest conversation about what they want, and then go from there. Because again, in real time, you say you don't want to punch a 9-to-5, but if you're not about to try to collect off the government, how are you going to live if you're not going to go to work for yourself?
But we do stress, we do want people to be honest. But at the same time, we want people to be honest. Sometimes we like to lie to ourselves, and and sometimes we like to lie to others. For example, when I look in the mirror, in a sense, I see when I was 32 years old. That's what I see in the mirror. And so but then when I get out and I get in the public, and then I look and I'm walking downtown and I look into a store and it shows my reflection, I don't see that 32-year-old guy anymore. I see the 73-year-old guy. What do you do? What do you do in terms of, in a sense, you're eating the food, you're trying to do the right thing, but sometimes you're being deluded by your perceptions. And often your perceptions can tell you, this food isn't that bad, So let's just go ahead and try this. But then at the same time, deep down that what you're eating, the fact you're not exercising, that it is, in a sense, affecting you. What do we do? How do we avoid these delusions, or can we avoid these delusions, E?
Go to the next slide. I think we can. Well,
I love it.
Here's the thing. What I found with, at least with working out and stuff, they say that if you starve yourself of what it is that you want, then you're going to pig out and do way worse damage to yourself than you would have if you had just did it anyway. So people should just, again, be honest about what it is that they want. Look, you want some chips, you want a donut, you want some fries, do that shit. But if you know that that's going to make you sleepy, lethargic, you're not going to be able to get your work done, or you're not going to be able to eat a balanced meal later, or whatever it is that you know that your little junk food uh, munchies cry for help happened, whatever that disrupted, make sure you don't let it disrupt. Do the extra work, because when you do the extra work, I don't understand why people have such a hard time owning the things that they want. There's nothing wrong with a donut. There's nothing wrong with a sausage. There is something wrong with saying don't eat donuts and then going and hiding that you ate donuts, or don't eat junk food and then you're eating junk food, or go to the gym all the time but then you're getting surgery. That's a problem. Those are lies. And when you fill yourself with lies, well, now we're back into the potato, bread, rice, and pasta conversation. It's fluff. It makes you full. But did you fuel yourself? Are you going to be able to do something with, with what you put inside of you? So next slide. This is how you change things. It's not just about the food. It's about what you're watching. It's about what you're listening to. It's about who you're talking to. It's about all of it. And I think that if our bodies are vessels, at least that's my argument tonight, our bodies are vessels, then all of the orifices are gateways, entrances. Your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your senses, all of those things are how you receive things. They're all things of how you can fuel yourself. For example, Dr. Winters, you've heard that a hug can cure depression or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not food, is it? A hug is food? You can eat a hug?
I think so. I mean, think about it. Think about it. Can you eat a hug? If remember, in a sense, is that if food is creating energy through its metabolism in your body, then therefore, in a sense, if you can get an experience that causes a reaction in terms of your body from a hug, is it also food?
See, and that's why I like the why we were doing definitions and defining things, because the body has more than one brain, right? You've got the brain in your head, and then you've got the brain in your tummy. And then how we're communicating with these two different thought channels, that I think that matters. You've got primary and you got a secondary. And then maybe you've got a tertiary if it's not calcified. So maybe that's another conversation for a different night. But tonight, I think, I think that if we are making conscious efforts to fuel ourselves with things that will nourish us and help us live longer, then that's what we need. But again, if you need a hot dog tonight, then eat the damn hot dog. I'm not going to be mad that you did. I'd be mad that you didn't, or that you lied about it, because there's nothing wrong with any decision that we make, honestly. To me, I guess that's my be all end all with that.
But Eve, do you think that we can have a conflict between the brain and the mind?
Sure. The mind being in the gut, or the mind being in our head and the brain being in our gut?
It's interesting because, see, as a psychologist, I know in a sense that we don't know where the mind is. The mind could be in your foot. The mind could be outside of you. But we do know where the brain is, and we do know mechanisms within the brain that they create things. But the mind is something different. The mind is something different because, we have the brain, and the brain has a mechanical operation. It operates in a sense to create ideas and thoughts. But then the mind, in a sense, what it does is that it might take you up to a different level in the sense that it has the ability to create ideas and thoughts based upon, in a sense, things that can be imaginary to the average person, you see. But then in a sense, we're constantly being impacted upon by the things that we eat, the things that we take in, the food. See, and then so then I think that we have to have a more holistic, view of what the food is. We can't just think of food as being something in a sense that is vegetable or animal. I think we had to think of food in terms of everything that we experience, because see, it's our experiences and the things that we experience that also motivate us, that also create energy, and that also, in a sense, create purpose. And so then I think that it's very important in a sense that we look at food as very holistic. It's just like when you look at this slide, news programs, radio, TV, all this stuff, music, all these things, they represent food, but that's not how we're taught in science. When I used to teach sixth grade, I taught my kids in the sense that you had to go through this process of eating to make to go through a process of metabolism so that we can create energy so that you can remain and have being in existence. But at the same time, when we look at this slide, we see that we also need these things to make us whole. We need these things, in a sense, to provide us with foods that can allow us to be able to manifest those things that we feel and that we even hope for.
I think that when I was talking about hugs and if you can eat a hug, right? That's the primary and secondary definition thing. Can you ingest it with your mouth, a hug? No, but with our senses, are we internalizing the energy? We're filling or fueling ourselves. And if a hug can cure depression or treat depression or whatever the saying is, because I'm not saying it right, but I know that hugs cure things, right? You had a long day, a hug will really make you feel better. And that's fueling. It doesn't necessarily fuel you to, I can't say that it's going to cause the same reaction of energy in everybody as much as it does trigger something in everybody. And some people don't even like to be touched. So, to
You're
get
right about that.
like that, that's a whole other type of energy that you're bringing out and causing to enter the space. So I think that, again, when we're talking about fueling ourselves, it's not necessarily what we're putting in our mouths that's going to our bellies, but what we're looking at, what we're taking in our brains, what we're listening to, what we're reading, the people we're around. I think that's my last slide, right?
No, you got one more.
The people we're around, the conversations we're having, the fuel or filling. I go back to Mr. Fuller because I want to say that I had a very hard time with one of his concepts of Black people can't be around each other for too long without it being unconstructive. That's not the word. Without it being constructive. But then in real time, people will say, that the club got shot up after the club let out, or, a cookout got shot out because niggas was lingering, or too much of a good thing and then something really bad happens. And it's like, okay, well, maybe sometimes we do need to have more control of what we're doing and the time we're spending. If the event's over, take your ass home. Or, if there's something left to be done, then maybe go do that. Or only get together if we're going to be productive. But if you want to have fun, have some fun too. But all of these things should be prioritized and how it's fueling or filling, and then moving from there.
But it's so difficult. I know that that's what Nelly Fuller says, and in a way, from his perspective, he can maybe concede that, because I know back when I was a teenager, when I had to get a gut feeling, hey, Clyde, you better get out this party. Say, hey, I'll see y'all later the next day. Clyde, you wasn't there. That blah 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 happened. But the thing is, this is that I think it's only I think a lot of this is because of our existence. I think it's because of the fact that we live under white supremacy, and as a result of white supremacy, it makes as though we can't get along. It wasn't always that way, you
Yeah.
know. And the thing is, this is that in the past we had a bridge, we had a bridge, and we had a tree. And that bridge and that tree was the fact that we had, in a sense, initiation ceremonies that allowed us to be part of an age group. And because we were part of an age group, you always had somebody who you could count on, who could be supportive, because you guys in a sense became family. Whereas I think in living under white supremacy, we can't hardly get along because the point is this, is that a lot of times, people have very negative intentions. I think some people, when they go to a party, they want to start some mess. Some people, they get a gun, they want to shoot somebody. Sometimes you get a girl in a sense that she feel weak, and she got her sisters with her. She want to go to a party and just start talking ish. But again, in a sense, I think that is very important, in the sense that we understand that there's things that affect us. Natty says that hugs hugs trigger brain chemical cells that take the nutrients from food to help replicate themselves. True. But the point is this, is that as a psychologist, I know that we don't know what a mind is. And so then much of what we do is based upon the mind. But we always associate the mind with the brain, and then they're not the same. They're not
No.
together, and it's very difficult in terms of trying to feed both of them. And for us to try to become who and what we are. How you doing, Tia, to you?
Here's a question. What is the chemical makeup? Well, my question is, when you put all the elements together that forms a person, was it like 1% that is an unknown element? Is that true? Or was that like a fairy tale that I read one time?
But it's what makes you you. It's what makes you you.
Now, here's my thing about that, right? That 1%, people call it a soul. I'm saying it's the mind. I'm saying that they're both. And like you said, in your brain and your foot, where's heaven? Is it up there? Is it here? Those things are beyond us because of time. I think a lot of our understanding is a time disconnect. We're very young people with very old energy, and we've been interrupted. So inside of the interruption, we're trying to unlearn and relearn. And then you've got first frequency, other frequencies. And in real time, people get that. You've got microwave, you've got the radio, you've got AM and FM, but they don't realize that all of these things are replicating natural things that are already here, us. And who cares where the mind is, as long as there is one? And then if there is one, can it be compromised, or can it be taught, or is it just this free entity? And I like it as a variable because it means that you can teach an old dog new tricks. It means there's no static. It's people can if they want.
But you can teach your old dog new tricks mainly because of neuroplasticity. And what neuroplasticity is that the brain can create new cells. Remember, everything is a lesson. When I used to be teaching educational psychology, and so when I would talk to my students, in a sense, I would say, what is learning? What is teaching? Well, they'll say, in a sense, teaching is when you present the information, and then and the student, in a sense, remembers the information. I would say, what is memory? Well, memory is building synapses. If memory is building synapses in your brain, then therefore, in a sense, how can I test you? Get out of here, Dr. Winters. Tests are valid. I said that, how can a test be valid when you can only test what somebody thinks they know?
Right.
You see, because I really don't know what you know unless I looked and determined if you build new synapses in your brain. And the only way I could find out if you build new synapses after I taught you something was to cut open your brain and then count the synapses. But you'll be dead. So you may pass the test, but you would die. But see, again, in a sense, is this whole idea: what is food? What is this creative principle? How do we become who we are? Who are we? What are the frequencies? Today I know that everything is frequency. Everything is frequency. For example, if you have a bad day, your dreams might, in a sense, not be as well founded. Sometimes when you get too tired, you get what my mom and them used to call witches riding you, and witches riding you, in a sense, was the whole idea that you'll be half asleep and you'll be half woke, and whenever you would have a witch is riding you dream, you would be laying in your bed, and then, in a sense, you always hear footsteps coming from the hall or coming from the
Mm-hmm.
closet, and then you can't move, and then you had to shake yourself. You had to do something to get out of this. And my mama used to call that witches riding you. They have different terms for that today. But in terms of this whole idea, you brought up an important fact: the senses. We have the sense of in relation to food. And what I've been bringing up a lot tonight is the sense of taste. A lot of the foods I eat don't taste the way they used to taste. You
Very
see,
interesting point.
but then you brought up the importance of what a hug could do. But a hug also involves a sense. So is our senses a way of not only producing energy and producing reactions, but is our senses also a way of partaking of the food of life, which is through our experiences? I don't know. I don't know.
I think so. I think that again, how we're internalizing or making new memories, having new thoughts from our experience. Well, did you touch the pot and it was hot, and now you've learned not to touch the pot when it's hot, or the iron, or the curling or iron, or whatever it was? Did you learn from that experience? That was touch. Or did you smell something that maybe you don't want to smell anymore? Maybe that memory, that learned experience, that's something that you ingested, you internalized it, you took it in, and you laid a foundation for how you're going to move from there. And sometimes we lay a lot of very strong foundations with crappy material, and then we're told that a lot of it was oh, you didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
But okay, well, now I'm at my very big age and I didn't need to do that. So what does it matter? I'm 62 years old. I've been eating McDonald's for 50 years, and why do I need to eat healthy now? Well, you don't need to eat healthy now. But if you want to do more, then you would have to say, well, what can I do? And then if you can't do the things you want to do, well, you would have to look at what you do. Because like you said, the body cells, they're always repairing and creating. And because of that, that's why I say our bodies were created perfectly. If our cells can regenerate and rejuvenate, then we don't have to be stuck on stupid anywhere at any level of what we've got going on, because you can make it new if you give it the time it needs and you fuel it. You can't just fill it. You can't just slap some shit on it and make it, hope that it works.
But it's been over 50 years, but I can still, sometimes I'll get this smell memory, and the smell memory is of tape and blood, and the tape and blood smell goes back when I was playing football. Is that even though I played football only through college and high school, it just seems as though that memory really stands out. That whole smell of blood and tape, wrapping tape over blood and smelling blood and tape, and it's a very interesting memory. But we're going to share a little information at the time, so we're going to take a little break, family.
What's up, everybody? It's Eve. Follow me on Twitter and YouTube for space recordings and special live programs. 2024, we're doing things a little different if you haven't peeped game by now. So yeah, this is your chance. You can do it now if you want. Hit the bell here on YouTube at JustEveB, or find me on X at Justice4 Just Us. That's JUSTICE 4 JUST_US. And if you feel so inclined, support my channel and the work we do over here. The Cash App and Patreon links are in the description. Black first.
So dreamy.
Hey, I've just written a new book, History and Culture of the Black Aboriginals of America. Yes, I've written a new book. This book is called History and Culture of Afro-Americans. It's about the Aboriginal Americans. It's about the first people who inhabited America. Many people don't know about our great culture, this super culture that we created, but I discuss this book. In 489 pages, you'll find out so much information, great information, about, in a sense, what the Aboriginal foundational Black Americans did. You're going to see, in a sense, that Black people contributed much here. When the first Europeans got here, that's what they found. Yes, they found Black Aboriginals inhabiting the Americas. It was the Black Aboriginals that built this country. This is why you had to get my book. Get my book, History and Culture of the Aboriginal Blacks of the Americas. In this book, you will find out the truth. You will know what we created. You will know who we are. Get this book. Buy it now. Today is today. We need to homeschool our children due to white supremacy. In many states, education departments are passing laws to deny our children from learning the history of foundational Black Americans. Today, you can learn how to organize and teach your children in a homeschool. In my book, A Guide to Homeschool Foundational Black Americans. You can use my book, History of Blacks in America from Prehistory to 1877, to teach our children their history here in the United States. You can use my book to teach world history. And this book I've written is called The World History of the Black World. This will teach your children about every Black civilization in the world. Get this book. The time is now. Get these books to teach your children about their greatness, to prevent them from losing confidence in their own ability to learn and be successful future adults in employment and education.
Supplemental learning for your mini. But you can learn too. Don't send your mini into the belly of the beast unarmed. Courses, practical math, language, the code, our story, and more. An institution founded by us, dedicated to us and our fight for justice. Here you will learn ways to combat the system using the same information they are trying to keep away from you. Welcome to FBA Sunday School.
At Sunday school, get your kids, grandkids, participate in it. But you also need to get you some jewelry.
Since the gold touch your heart with a dinner rose. Change the spirit one time, it gets old close. She gon' take me out of space into another zone. Free spirit, she ain't messing with them petty hoes. Microwaves and cobalt us out of phone. Fucking in that vibe and smoking good on that drone. Call me eat the night with the cuz all up in a fro. This queen approach, she gon' drop it low to the flow. You know she liquid gold with the alchemy in the bowl. Trippy super soul is the greatest tale never told. She gon' get you right, you can set up on your goals. You gon' spend the night in the harmony out with your toes. You know she's super fine and the aura down to her bones. Super magic fairy, I'm lost in the rituals. She give me life like butterflies on the rose. Really rich and old, ain't nothing like cracker trolls. Hidden in the clothes, an extraterrestrial. And she never folds, her crackers up in the throat. She drink your wine, she rock you up like a pole. And she spark my mind with intellectual pose. Shake butter oils and linger up in your nose. Independent goddess like rhythm up in the soul.
Yellow honey, drip slow, sweet agave, at the toe. Independent finance, wine, citrus mist. My Wonder Woman, I wonder how to.
Get some of that work from Tones 5. Get some of that jewelry. You guys, come on now. Be supportive. Support brothers. Support sisters. Stop it. Get some of that money and spend it on what can help us to make the community better. Gargled. Yeah, you guys, you got to support Yoshimod. Yoshimod can make your website super. Hey, you know, a lot of family reunions are coming up. I know you guys would like to have a nice video showing some of the ancestors at your during your meeting when you guys are having that reunion. Check out Yoshimod Productions so we can help you to make your family reunion a great success. Yoshimod can make you a great video. This is one of his latest creations. This is why Yoshimod is called the genius.
So many misery, so many lies of hate. I got you on TV, believe me. Pulling your mirrors, killing the lady. I'm a just a bitch that got me. Belly could have never been sloppy. What you say is nothing but copies. This some cooked up in the lobby. Billy Holiday pushes the body. George Clinton committed the robberies. It seems he went for the lottery. It's all falls in one card. I go, maybe I'll call it a mystery. I'm never gonna be who else it. It's always the most who else it. Universe stand up like Eddie Murphy. Car crash, they just hitting on me. Make it come back like Bill Cosby. We blind and play conspiracy. Me back for taking a knee. They just been counting me. Like those curses, when I'm a purpose, no inspiration, discrimination, no motivation, straight elimination, your radiation, alienation, annihilation, all for the taking, taking, overtaking, impersonation, who you shaking, shine like Raven, Stephen Davis, hit the shake, I'm moving brave, I'm ready, craving, even Jaden, say no, Taylor, paving, who we taking, Perry, make them misbehaving, we didn't break before we drown in the water, gotta think,
I can't hear you.
Said that I love that video. I
Oh,
also like his other video. It's called Blunt, and it's I think it's very good too. Thing that I like about the video is that it is so it is so beautiful, and I think it says a lot about our culture, and this makes me really like it.
I can hear it. Can't see it. There we go.
You probably be mad at me for what I might say. Yeah. You probably be mad at me for what I might say. Yeah. You probably be mad at me for what I might say. Yeah. You probably be mad at me because I am blunt. I am blunt. I am blunt. I say what I want. I am blunt. I am blunt. I am blunt. I say what I want. I say what I want. You'll probably be mad at me for what I might say. You'll probably be mad at me for what I might say. You'll probably be mad at me because I am blunt. I am blunt. I say what I feel. I say what I want. I say nothing true. I am blunt. I say what I feel. I say what I want. I am blunt.
I love those videos. For some reason, they're not coming out. You probably can't hear them, but I love them. I love them. Go to Yoshimad's website, listen to his music. He just makes so much beautiful music to me, and I love the color because it makes me in a way really, wish I could write some science fiction stuff to go along with those images because those are images that we need. And somebody asked what he wanted to do. I think he said may want to create something for 2B and maybe try to get it on one of the channels because he is such a genius. He's able to create these images. He's able, in a sense, to take your idea and to make it real. And I think that's what I love about it. And a lot of his material is food for thought. Especially the one that he did, and when he shows people, how we were first Aboriginals and then we became, in a sense, FBA. And so I love his work. I just love it.
I love his work too. I think Yoshi is a genius, like you said, and he's got some really good energy and that blunt first. Huh?
Yeah.
Is that good? Brilliant first. Say it with your chest, like if the math don't math, right? I think Yoshi is a wonderful addition to my toolbox, and you guys should have him in your toolbox too.
Yeah, he can make whatever you want to make. He can make it real. He can take your thoughts and create these images. And what I really love about it is the color, just the color space. Taking the material, putting it in the color, and the earliest one when he's talking about he has us begin as the Aboriginals, and then from the Aboriginals we move into who we are today. We're Superman family. I know that you don't want to really hear, but we are supermen and superwomen. And the reason that FBA are supermen and superwomen is because of the fact that we went through an ethnogenesis. We went through an ethnogenesis. And because of this ethnogenesis, our parents through social epigenetics were able, in a sense, to instill in us this fighting spirit. See, it's a fighting spirit. Sometimes you don't want to fight, but you still fight. Especially when it comes for fighting for our rights, fighting for our survival as a race. Fight like today. Look at how we've been focused over the past 3 years on reparations, and how we've been, and just by focusing on reparations, being compensated for the labor that our ancestors worked for 200 years, and we are now demanding these reparations, this payment that they owe us. We're not demanding land, hell no. We're not demanding, in a sense, an apartment, hell no. We're demanding cash. We're demanding a check. That's right, money, baby, money, baby. Because we know, in a sense, that if you give us that cash, we can buy some land.
That's facts.
If you give us that cash, I can buy some Nikes. I don't even wear Nikes. But when I get my check, I'm buying Nikes, baby.
Yeah,
Jordans.
I think that, people hear things and it sounds good. And like we talked about earlier, if they can move you off of your argument, then your argument it's whack, really. And our fight for reparative justice is not a whack argument. We just need to be committed to what makes sense, what fuels us or what fills us. People have said in real time, well, you Blacks are getting government assistance, and that's reparations right there. You've got public housing, you've got food stamps, you've got Medicaid and all that shit. That's your reparations right there. I'm like, well, I guess if the government is saying that all of the harm that they've done to the Black community comes in the form of this type of payment that's given to everybody in a certain socioeconomic status, then I don't know if we can call it reparations. It's a very specific debt. And then, that goes back to, is my argument sound, or is it just something I'm bitching about? If it's something I'm bitching about, well, maybe I can give you a donut if you wanted cake, or maybe I can give you some ice cream if you wanted some fries. And maybe I can move you off of what it was that you wanted, because you don't really want that. You don't know what you want. Let me just give you this. But I'm white and I say so. That is, no, I said what I said, and you know what I said, and we're not doing that. But Black people aren't comfortable there, because we get told we're aggressive, we're combative, we're argumentative, we are the opposite of what they want us to be. And just like we have to teach the minis in school, they say Nat Turner's rebellion, Gabriel Prosser's rebellion. They don't say revolt or uprising. It's always like the negative word. But if you're the person writing the story about how things are about to change and you're not the people in power anymore, well, that would make you look at them as the bad guy. So we're teaching them why it's being written this way and how you can change it in real time. And then it's going to be up to them and how they have created that memory synapse that we were talking about. Did they internalize it? Did they take it on? Is it a foundation for them, or is it something that just, filled them for now and it's gone later? Was it some potato chips or was it some kale chips? I don't know.
But it's repetition. A lot of people, when I do my Thursday program, they say, why do Dr. Winters shout? Why do Dr. Winters in a sense make jokes? Why do Dr. Winters make faces? You see, because I as a psychologist, I understand in the sense that there's emotion, that emotion affects things. For example, you can make a simple experiment. You can tell somebody, and you can say, "Hey, I want to, in a sense, I'm going to say 5 words. I'm going to say 5 words, and I want you to tell me the words that you remember." Let's say you say boy, girl, love, boy, girl, love, love, and mom. Out of those 5 words, they're going to, in a sense, remember love. They're going to remember, in a sense, mom, because these are words that evoke an emotional response, and because they evoke an emotional response, people learn best when you're using, in a sense, emotion, when you're presenting things. So then, therefore, when I'm shouting, when I'm laughing, what I'm doing, in a sense, is that I'm reinforcing the information. You see, a lot of people just think that Dr. Winters is just doing silly-ish. No, I'm not doing silly-ish. I'm doing things, in a sense, that have a psychological basis. I'm doing things, in a sense, that make for perfect learning, and not only perfect learning, but also, in a sense, reinforcing memories. And see, that's what life is all about. Life is all about memories, and you create memories, in a sense, by being able to create things. Is just like smells and tastes. There's smells and tastes that you and your partner share. You see, and other people might not even be able to share these smells or tastes, but you, in a sense, because of the fact, in a sense, that you two have created some sort of regularity, you've experienced, you've shared experiences, then therefore they create memories. They created food, in a sense, that impacts upon you and makes you the individual who you are. And see, people, in a sense, don't understand is that we're constantly being impacted by these experiences, which reflect, in a sense, what we're going through in society, what we're going into in the home, but it's also providing us with food to nourish us. Food, in a sense, to impact upon us and create a standard that makes you who you are and makes me who I am. It's very interesting, but it's very hard, but at the same time, it's important.
It is hard and important, and it's not that serious, right? Because at the end of the day, smoke cigarettes, drink whiskey, run a mile every day, or don't. You could get hit by a bus, or a plane could fall out of the sky, and now you're dead. And all of that work for what, right? But if the work is not, it's not for you, it's for what you're doing for other people, how you're fueling, how you're filling, well, it doesn't matter if you did all of that, because how you impacted people and what they took from you, that's what matters. We talk about our ethnogenocide, and I have this repetitive conversation with people who want to Africanize us inside of a delineating conversation, knowing that life started where it starts, and then everybody should be African, or nobody should be African, or we should all be able to name ourselves or don't name ourselves. But inside of this amalgamation of a bunch of different people, the culture of fueling and putting out, I don't think we've been a takey, selfish people. I think we've been a people who've been trying to, again,
too generous. We've been too generous.
Too generous. Too generous. And then they started stealing spices and stealing us because they didn't know what to do with the spices, right? But when we're generous like that, we're not selfish enough. I think that we need to be more selfish about what we're putting out. And then from there, have these honest conversations, tune in with us on Wednesdays for reality checks, conversations you didn't think you wanted to have. And then maybe you'll be fueling yourselves with some food for thought to get you to the next week.
Yeah, but it's very important and stuff like that. Did you want to make a final statement about food and how important it is, nourishment or whatever?
I just want to remind everybody that because our bodies are always regenerating, if you get sick, that's not the end of it. The end is when you're dead, because then you can't do anything about it. So until then, you've got all sorts of chances to do something about it. And Dr. Winters, I know you said you don't want to be a ghost, but what if that is the next step? Your energy doesn't actually go anywhere. You're still here. And then you are a ghost. And then, well,
I don't want to be a ghost because in a sense, see, the point is that I'm a fool. Because I'm a fool, I already know that I'm existing in Italy right now with my wife, you see, because I know in a sense that we can have multiple personalities. I was watching this series once. And so they used to go and they used to try to remove ghosts from people's house. And so then this guy in a sense, he bought a saloon that used to be a brothel. Okay. And so he bought a saloon that used to be a brothel. And he couldn't understand why he couldn't sell that brothel. And then what happened in a sense is that they found a picture of the original owner of the brothel, and the original owner of the brothel looked exactly like him. Ooh. So that meant in the sense that he had carried on. See, I understand in a sense that I recognize the fact that this incarnation I'm Clyde Winters. I have other incarnations. I know from talking to my wife before she died that we were incarnated in Italy. I was her boss and she was my mistress. So then I have no problem with the idea of incarnations. I just don't want to be stuck here. And then, because the point is that there's nothing really here. You see, everything, as you probably know, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So every word we say, it doesn't leave this plane. It's still here. Every word we say, every action, every experience is still here because nothing ceased to exist. Because of the fact, in the sense that that's the law of dynamics or whatever it is. And so then therefore, in a sense, I have no problem with that. See, I have no problem right now, in a sense, I'm Clyde Winters, the black man. I may have was an Olmec one day, back in the past. I may have been a Chinese back in the past. I don't know. And you know what? I really don't care. You see, because I know that in a sense is that the only stability about me is my soul. The soul never changes. The soul regulates us, and the soul keeps us down our path. You see, but these incarnations, I mean, hey, I just don't want to run into my doppelganger,
The soul keeps you on your path. That's the purpose, right? Your purpose. If you are doing things aligned with your purpose, I think that you are fueling yourself and others. If you're doing things that are not aligned with your purpose, then maybe you're filling things up that don't need to be filled, or maybe you are filling yourself with fluff that you don't need, and not that it's not going to get you by, but is it going to sustain you? Is it going to help you make a new thought? The school system, as designed by the government, was not supposed to create critical thinkers as much as it was supposed to create a worker who knew that when the bell rang, you did this. And when the times, you were on a schedule, assembly line worker type. So from there, well, we want thinkers because the rest of the world is doing things and we want to be competitive. Well, now you have to unlearn and relearn. People who are, on this schedule of not having to think for themselves are the ones teaching people to think for themselves. That's a whole disconnect, but we're doing it. It's 2024 and we are as competitive as we've been, as long as we keep fueling in the right direction.
You weren't supposed to tell that secret, Eve. You weren't supposed to tell people that education is just to make you a good worker. You weren't supposed to tell that secret. Why did you tell?
Oh, no, see, y'all know that though. A lot of you guys divorced from academia because you saw through the bullshit and you just didn't know what it was. You just knew that you were never going to use the Pythagorean theorem. You were never going to be a mathematician. You did not need to know how to conjugate a verb, really. Like, the shit is whatever, bananas. But then in real time, you're remembering shit like I before E except after C. And we've got spell check. We've got these things that we know because foundation. And then can we take some of these things that we use as building blocks and replace them with something else because of where we are? And I think technology gives us that advantage. But inside of technology is the devil in the technology. We talked about that before. So, you got to be careful about what you're putting in, because right now y'all are taking us in, how we look, how we sound. And then from there, maybe it's late where you are. Maybe you're about to go to bed. So hopefully we've given you some thoughts and now you want to do something with the energy we've given you.
And they're making judgments. They're looking at ugly me and beautiful you. And then they're saying, damn, why do we have to have this dichotomy? But that's life. That's life. But you guys, you have a great evening, and see you next week.
Good night.
If you're not going to speak up, you're the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, you're the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, you're the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, you're the ones who do. Vampires, they prey on your fears and stay away. Vampires, they prey on your fears, control your honest fears.